Want to know a little fun fact? I love Chainsaw Man. Hello everyone, it is your favourite Plague Doctor, and today I want to talk about Chainsaw Man. Specifically, Chainsaw Man Part 2. Now from what I've seen, Part 2's gotten some real mixed reviews from fans, but if you want my personal take, I'd love it. Now this isn't just because I'm a Chainsaw Man dick rider. I mean, I've got the fucking shirt, and if that was a competition, I'd probably come first. But I also genuinely love the direction that Part 2 has taken the series. Personally, Chainsaw Man is tied for my favourite manga alongside Gantz, and in my opinion, the anime adaptation was one of the best adaptations I'd ever seen. But again, that's just my opinion. For any of you unfamiliar with Chainsaw Man, it follows Denji, a young man who owes his father's debt to the Yakuza after his father offs himself. Denji pays off his debt by hunting devils with his own marketable pet devil, Pochita the Chainsaw Devil. Denji is betrayed by the Yakuza and, whilst being left to die, fuses with Pochita and becomes a half-human, half-devil hybrid called Chainsaw Man. Denji is then offered a place at the public safety devil hunters by the enigmatic and mysterious Makima, a woman who can turn seemingly normal people into fucking rabid animals after they see their bunda.
Who here is a Makima fan?
Walk, 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 walk! The rest of the story follows Denji trying to find his purpose in life as a devil hunter, alongside a colourful cast of fun and ultimately disposable characters. I'd say my love for this series comes from 4 specific points. The first being, it is just batshit insane, and I'm just going to put up some panels and you can all have some fun reading through them. And but there are also some great emotional beats, and they just fucking hit you in the heart and leave you on the ground like this. Chainsaw Man also has some incredible art and paneling with crazy and wild fights that leave you on the edge of your seat. Finally, one of the best parts about Chainsaw Man, in my opinion, is the characters. For as short-lived as they are, they're colourful and odd, and they just have some incredible chemistry, and there are just some moments between them that are hilarious, sad, or just really heartwarming. It's great. To me, it's like a Tarantino film in the form of a manga. One of the most prominent aspects about Chainsaw Man is its pacing, okay? It has some fucking insane pacing, alright? There is 97 chapters, and that covers 10 arcs, okay? And this spans over 11 volumes, as you saw, right? And it's like just completely fucking insane, because, I mean, you look at something which, like, Jujutsu Kaisen, which has about 10 arcs as well, and it's still going as well. And he manages to cram all this shit and still make it coherent over 97 chapters. That's what makes it such an enjoyable and easy read. It's a fucking roller coaster. It's got a breakneck pace that refuses to slow down and only eases for about a chapter or two. And before you know it, you're fucking slingshotted back into the action. This is where Chainsaw Man Part 2 changes its course a bit. While both parts set up the hype to come in their first chapters, Part 1 maintains that hype throughout its entire run, whilst Part 2 settles down after the first chapter. Part 2's formula is to take a breather and bide its time for several chapters before getting several doses of crack and meth and going absolutely buck wild. It's essentially the complete inverse of Part 1, and I believe this is where most people found faults. However, whilst I personally prefer Part 1 overall a little bit more, Part 2 is still quite enjoyable, and that's due to Fujimoto's writing. You see, what Fujimoto and Oda have in common is their ability to cook. Now, whilst Eiichiro Oda is the far better writer and cooker, Fujimoto is still very competent. Well, as competent as one can be whilst writing a story like Chainsaw Man, acting like his little sister on Twitter, and eating his girlfriend's dead goldfish after it got swarmed by ants. Yeah. In part 2, following the moments of action and mayhem, Fujimoto uses these moments of downtime to build up the story and or characters, as well as add elements of mystery. Something else which I find is interesting and enjoyable is the way Fujimoto has been balancing having two protagonists, with the new protagonist Asamitaka. I find that Fujimoto did a decent job at including her, and the reason he took so long to reintroduce Denji, in my opinion, was so he could build up her character and stop her from being sidelined. The two are enjoyable characters, and it's kind of nice to see how Denji has grown while still being the same old Denji we know and love. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's move on to the main point of the video, chapter 137 to 139. Following the hectic yet kind of dragged out Falling Devil arc, we are currently following Denji attempting to live a normal life as a result of an ultimatum that Yoshida proposed. It's made for an interesting character development point as Denji deals with attachment to his persona and his hero complex, which likely stems from trauma relating to the loss of several of his friends in part 1. However, Denji also wishes to maintain this normalcy as it was his ultimate goal at the beginning of part 1, yet he still has a desire to maintain his hero status. This can be seen with Denji's reaction to fake Chainsaw Man's appearance and claim of being Chainsaw Man, which hurts and angers Denji. To help maintain this normalcy, Yoshida suggests they skip school, leading to the two going to see a movie and Yoshida setting Denji up with a date. Denji reflects on his depression as a result of his dilemma, along with the loss of status due to the fake Chainsaw Man. However, this soon disappears when his classmate begins to cop a feel. Chapter 137, Choo Choo Lovely Muni Muni Mura Mura, begins with Denji, of course, being shocked due to his well-known track record of women, and is even more shocked when she offers to take his virginity if he goes and licks the devil he killed. It's here that we get to see how much Denji has grown and matured, with him calling out the oddness of her request, and the fact that he's done with being a puppet for people to use, and that he isn't going to fall for her trap. A really nice moment to see how much Denji has grown, and as funny as it was seeing the places his horniness took him in part 1, it's great seeing how far he's come with his newfound self-respect, and now he's licking and fucking going down on the back of that demon. God damn! Motherfucker is giving it the Lock 2000. Bro, where the fuck did you learn to do that? Ain't no way that was part of Kishibe's training. I also love that this chick canonically has an ugly ass laugh. However, because Denji did indeed carry out his part of the bargain, his underclassman agrees to do it with him at a karaoke bar. But before they get down to it, she has to do a quick warm-up by doing the karaoke of Choo Choo Lovely Muni Muni Mura Mura by one of my personal favourite Japanese metal bands, Maximum the Hormone, the band behind the Death Note and Record of Ragnarok OPs, and the 4th Chainsaw Man ending. This part is definitely the highlight of the chapter in my opinion. As Denji's underclassman begins singing the song, a group of men with metal bats burst into the room to kill Denji, only for Denji to single-handedly take all of them out, all while his underclassman keeps going with the song. To fully appreciate this scene, you just have to read it while listening to the song accompanying it. Here's a sample. The scene feels very reminiscent of my favourite movie of all time, Oldboy. Specifically, the corridor fight scene with a claustrophobic arena and a single combatant taking out all of his foes. The only difference is that while Odasu begins losing stamina about halfway through the fight, Denji just keeps going, just mowing down assailant after assailant without breaking a sweat. This is a great moment to highlight the effectiveness of Kishibe's training with Denji, being able to take out 30 men basically single-handedly without even having to use his Chainsaw Man form. After Denji takes out all of the men, he is met with one final opponent, his underclassman, once again falling back into the trope of every woman he meets trying to kill him. The final page is easily the best with Denji's expressions, showing how he really did want things to work out with this girl, but ending with his acceptance and anticipation that this was exactly how their date was going to end. Chapter 138, Sword Man, picks up with Denji and his underclassmen in a standoff as they're about to begin their battle when there is a sudden twist on the trope. As one of the batsmen attempts to shoot Denji, his underclassman suddenly throws the bat at the gunman and knocks him out, saving Denji. This is the first woman Denji has met that has actually tried not to kill him. That is until we find out that Denji wasn't in danger of being shot because it was just a model gun. Denji questions if she's actually an ally, pointing out the fact that she kept seeing while he was fighting, and suddenly Yoshida appears and explains that her name is Fumiko Mifune, and that she's actually part of Public Safety Special Division 7, and that she will act as Denji's bodyguard while he goes through school. We also find out that the reason she didn't want to help was literally just because she didn't want to interrupt her karaoke session, which is just based as fuck. Like, as a fellow Maximum the Hormone fan, I can completely relate. If we're at karaoke and I'm doing Bui Kikai, so you better not fucking interrupt me. I don't care if you're getting jumped by like 100 dudes or you're having like a heart attack or some shit. Oh, boo, do it somewhere else. I'm gonna fucking finish that song. We return to Asa, who has now become famous as a result of being seen alongside Chainsaw Man after the events of the Falling Devil arc, with Yoru commenting about her enjoyment of the attention that the fame has brought. Despite this, Asa tries to downplay the whole thing, saying that unlike Chainsaw Man, they aren't trying to become famous. They're simply trying to accomplish their goal of saving Chainsaw Man so they can kill him, as oxymoronic as that may seem. Asa says the whole ordeal creeps her out, yet when questioned by Yoru as to why, she half-heartedly says it's because it invades her privacy, despite the whole thing apparently making her quite happy, with Asa seen smiling. This plays into Asa's character and her development as she wishes so desperately to be accepted by people, despite her belief that it'll just hurt her. Whilst Asa is nearly a complete inverse, she has also begun to show several similar qualities to Denji, although most likely for different reasons. Whilst looking at the redesigned Chainsaw Man church posters that now include Asa, Denji is approached by a hooded figure who sympathizes and agrees with Denji's annoyances about losing the spotlight to Asa. After recounting her profile, the figure reveals that he and Denji are past acquaintances, yet he understands why Denji doesn't know who he is, telling Denji that he doesn't remember him either. After asking who he is, the figure reveals himself to be Sword Man, one of the weapon hybrids we saw Makima controlling during the Control Devil arc, having one of my favourite character and hybrid designs. Chapter 139, A Chair's Feelings, start with Sword Man trying to remind Denji who he is, only for Denji to dip, saying he didn't actually fight him, and that was Pochita in a full devil form. At Denji's school, we find out Sword Man's real name is Mirisugo and announces he doesn't plan on making any friends and is only interested in Denji. Miri reveals that he's actually a messenger from the Chainsaw Man Church, giving Denji a message: the weapons walk with the Chainsaw Man Church. The weapons referring to the devil hybrids which we saw during the Control Devil arc that fought full devil Pochita. Miri states that the majority of the high-ranking members are actually devil hybrids, or as he refers to, weapons, and that Denji will be offered a high rank if he joins. The strangeness of this offer is called out by Fumiko and Denji, so Miri tries to explain the offer in simple terms because he's dealing with Denji, who has a negative IQ. Do the jobs you feel like doing, and do whatever else you want whilst getting paid. After hearing that he could be allowed to have as much food as he wants, Denji and Fumiko get into a very intellectual conversation regarding the best foods, pissing off Miri, who calls them childish. Miri tries to appeal to Denji, saying that he's also been manipulated his whole life, but now that he's joined the Chainsaw Man Church, he's finally truly free, and wants to help Denji also be free as a sign of gratitude for setting him free, breaking him free from the clutches of public safety. Fumiko points out the irony that Miri is unconsciously being controlled, with Miri hitting him with the and that he's doing this of his own free will, and that it just doesn't sit right that Denji can be used by people, even now being used as a chair. Denji reveals he's an ass guy and admits that he's okay with life, and it's actually what he wanted, being a cog in the system. Miri storms off and says that he actually does like Denji, pulling a Netflix Kaworu, and before he leaves tells Denji he could have been able to have his own harem just like Kwanji. After some neural activation, the chapter ends with Denji fucking teleporting in front of Miri and telling him, after considering the offer, he also wants a harem. I mean, to join the Chainsaw Man Church. Now, after a lot of time and consideration, I believe it's time we move on to the review. Chapter 137 was an absolute blast that fell straight out of part 1, and as ridiculous and crazy as it was, I also believe it served a specific purpose. Despite Denji going along with Yoshida's order to stop being Chainsaw Man and to lead a normal life, when you get down to it, it's almost fundamentally impossible for Denji to lead a normal life. Denji has never actually been able to lead a truly normal life, even since his childhood. Even if he never had to kill devils, he would still be affected by them. In some ways, he's almost been a magnet for misfortune. It makes Denji quite a tragic character, as the people he works for would rather throw him to the side and leave him to deal with the trouble at hand rather than help him, viewing him as merely disposable trash. Once again, in Chapter 137, Denji has been denied a normal life and date, as he is forced to fight a barrage of mercenaries, and initially he has to fight the girl he was literally just about to have sex with. Chapter 138 provides some nice nuances with both Denji and Asa. For the first time, one of Denji's dates isn't trying to kill him, which is a nice change that would surely be a relief to Denji. Asa has also provided some depth beyond romance and fear of intimacy as she gains notoriety for her actions. While she tries to downplay her feelings, she eventually comes to have the same reaction as Denji. However, I believe this is more impactful. Obviously, Denji has the worst life. Asa's isn't any better, and she's had a pretty troubled childhood, losing her mother and later her cat Crambon, who was killed by her caretakers, so she's alone. Asa has distanced herself from everyone around her, has only ever had 2 friends, and both of which she had to abandon, and ultimately, she has rather low self-esteem. As such, when her actions are televised and she's praised by the masses, she can finally feel accepted and appreciated after all those years she'd spent being invisible. It was also exciting to see that the other devil hybrids are still alive with the appearance of Miri, but I'd say that was kind of a given. I mean, for starters, it's a fact that hybrids, like regular devils, can't die, and after seeing them in the Control Devil arc, come on, they were way too cool to be one-note villains. They had to come back. Chapter 139 also gives us some more information about the Chainsaw Man Church, and from the looks of it, it appears to be some sort of anarchic and unofficial public safety. It's interesting to get a bit more information about Miri as well, and hopefully we'll get some more information about the weapons, like why they became devil hunters and how they came to become hybrids with their respective devil counterparts. This chapter had some great moments, and I'd like to see a bit more of Miri due to his backstory being quite similar to Denji's. And as funny as it is when Denji switches up at the chance of sex, I'm starting to get a bit annoyed by it, as I want to see Denji grow more as a character, although Denji's teleportation was easily the highlight of the chapter due to its absurdity mixed with Denji playing it completely straight. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and unfortunately, this video is so overdue, just like my One Piece Joy Boy overview. This was actually meant to come out a bit after the release of Chapter 145 of Chainsaw Man, but when you know it, exams got in the way and I had to postpone until I was finished this year. I actually had this video all written up, had the script finished and everything. I just had no time whatsoever to record. And as I've said before, shit time management skills. Due to the difficulty and time it takes for me to make this, and again, shit time management skills, I'm gonna focus on only making chapter reviews of chapters I really want to talk about rather than doing a weekly overview, because again, I'm just very bad at planning. And that is why the next video is going to be the Kenjaku vs Takuba fight in the current JJK manga, because I really want to talk about those chapters. Anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful day and night, and remember to stay safe, stay kind, and stock up on those apples, or else you will find me shouting at you about the pestilence. Bye!